Hello, dear listeners. I'm Reneta Jenik, your host on this flavorful journey of health and wellness and expanding consciousness. Welcome to the Food is Medicine podcast, the place where food meets medicine. I'm the founder of Foodom, a marketplace for healthy meals and medically tailored meals cooked by local chefs at your home. So join us and you'll have a front row seat as medical experts share invaluable information, tips, advice on managing chronic conditions and preventing them in the first place, focusing on a holistic approach to well-being. Whether you're personally navigating a chronic condition, supporting a loved one through their health journey, or simply seeking a knowledge to lead a healthy life, our podcast is here to be your trusted companion. For our first episode, I'm thrilled to be joined by the amazing Dr. Sharon Chang. And Dr. Sharon Chang, I'm happy to introduce her. Dr. Sharon Chang is a breast cancer surgeon who has been caring for cancer patients at Kaiser Permanente for almost 15 years. She's a Bay Area native who completed medicine school at Harvard, surgery residency at UC Davis, and cancer surgery fellowship at MD Anderson before returning to the Bay Area to join Kaiser Permanente. Her current roles include performing surgery for Kaiser patients with breast cancer and training Stanford residents, and also co-directing the Kaiser Northern California Breast Surgeon Group. Welcome, Sharon. So amazing to be here with you.
Thank you so much for that beautiful intro, Reneta. I'm very excited to be your first guest and to be on this journey with you and to share with all the listeners, the amazing powers of food as medicine.
Yeah. So maybe we'll start by, if you can share why you care so deeply about food and cancer management. Where did this come from?
Yeah, so it turns out that more than 40% of cancers are actually preventable and are lifestyle related. And unfortunately, breast cancer is one of them. And that's not saying that everybody who has breast cancer, it's a result of lifestyle, but there are definitely things that we can do with our lifestyle to help reduce the risk of cancer. And I see this as such an opportunity to not only help people who are battling cancer right now, but also people to prevent cancer from even starting in the first place.
And that's incredible. Wow, 40% incredible. And how does our diet influence our health and potentially reduce the risk of cancer? Can food be actually serving as a medicine to prevent and manage cancer?
Yeah, and when you think about it, we are what we eat. Every single molecule in our body comes from what we eat, what we ingest. And so it turns out that diet actually has a profound impact on cancer risk. And food actually is medicine. We have all sorts of toxins and exposures and things just from our everyday lives, but the food that we eat can actually bolster our immune systems and help with DNA repair and do all of the things to help defend us against the factors that cause cancer.
Wow. Yeah, and especially when you go through the treatments, it does also change the body in different ways that need more supportive nutrients. So are there specific foods or dietary patterns that have been associated with a lower risk of breast cancer?
Yeah, there's really strong evidence showing that a predominantly whole food, plant-based diet has tremendous preventive benefits. And whole foods meaning things that look pretty much like how they came out of the ground, with minimal processing. And plant-based doesn't mean vegan necessarily, but just more plants in your diet, more sources of plant-based protein and less animal-based protein. But very strong evidence supporting this, helping not only in prevention of cancer, but many other chronic conditions.
Yeah, in one of our conversations, you mentioned the magic of flax seeds. Maybe you can share a little bit about that.
Yeah. So flax seeds are just a whole bunch of goodness wrapped up in a little tiny package. So it turns out that flax seeds pack a whole bundle of benefits, ranging from anti-inflammatory and antioxidant activities. And so for that reason, I often prescribe it to my patients who come with breast pain due to inflammation. There's a condition called fibrocystic change where as people have hormonal changes throughout their lives, particularly around the time of menopause, there can be a lot of breast inflammation, and that can be very, very uncomfortable. And the flax seeds are actually super beneficial for that. The other thing that flax seeds do is they pack a whole bunch of fiber, and they also provide many beneficial phytonutrients. And these promote healthy bacteria growing in your gut, which in turn support your immune system, which in turn help you fight cancer more effectively. So, in summary, flax seeds actually can help your body fight cancer and prevent cancer.
That's amazing. Since you told me I'm eating flax seeds every day, and I am probably now in like a premenopause, and I have these things that you mentioned about the dense, in the feminine, organ. So I every day, like religiously, I'm taking a teaspoon of ground flax seeds. Thank you for that. So, what other types of food people can consume to reduce cancer risk that are antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, and also the phytonutrients?
Yeah, so your fruits and vegetables and whole grains are your best defense. People say eat the rainbow, and that literally means eat the rainbow because all the things that give these fruits and vegetables these beautiful, brilliant colors are also so incredibly good for you. The oranges, the carotenoids, the dark green. So if you aim to eat the rainbow, you will get all the benefit of all these different phytonutrients, plus the fiber, plus all the vitamins. And the less processed it is, the more of these will actually get into your body because a lot of processing actually either degrades these or strips them out entirely. So if you can, eating fresh, whole fruits and vegetables is incredibly beneficial.
Amazing. Yeah, we're actually going to be adding. We have some blog posts about how to get the most out of your spinach with cooking it, in a way that will boost all the nutrients from it. So we can create some more about broccoli and other type of superfoods. Yeah. So, are there specific nutrients or dietary supplements that individuals should consider for breast cancer prevention?
So it's really not about supplements or medicines per se. It's really more about overall eating patterns. And the beauty of it is that, with this very whole food, plant-based diet, you get so many of the vitamins and the minerals and phytonutrients and things all together in a very natural package. And there are so many things that we don't know about that are in these foods and how they interact that, yes, you can try to distill a pill and say, okay, yeah, take the pill. But you really actually get much more benefit from just eating the whole food because then you're not restricted to only what they can package in a pill or what they know about, but you get everything that's in there, including the stuff that we don't even know about yet.
Oh, that's amazing. Is there something, maybe specific foods that you want to mention that we should avoid to prevent, to prevent cancer or after surgery when people try to recover? What kind of foods should be avoided?
Yeah, so pretty much the opposite of whole food plant-based. So it's interesting, the World Health Organization has these categories of different foods going from whole food to super processed food. So definitely things on the super processed foods, try to minimize if possible, because not only do those really strip the food of all the stuff that's good for you, but it also adds a lot of stuff that may not be so good for you. And a lot of the different chemicals and things like that make the food look appealing or that preserve the shelf life and stuff like that, may actually have side effects that may be detrimental. Some of them we know about, and those have been banned, but many of those we don't know about yet. So I think in general, trying to minimize the amount of chemical additives and things like that is probably healthier. In terms of things to help you recover after surgery, surgery is a trauma. It's a controlled trauma. And as such, your body uses the same mechanisms that it would have used, back in caveman days if you had fallen out of a tree or had gotten bitten by a tiger or something like that. And that is, it draws on protein. And so your body draws on its own stores of protein to heal your wounds. So what this can result in, if you don't have enough protein going in and not enough protein reserves, is you can actually atrophy. So your own muscle mass can decrease as you're drawing upon that to heal your wounds, and you can get weak. And so, so for healing from surgery, it's really important to make sure you eat plenty of protein. And I tell my patients that over the long term, I strongly recommend a more plant-based protein as opposed to an animal-based protein, just for all the different reasons that we discussed, that, plants have the phytonutrients and so forth. But around the time of surgery, I just tell them, whatever protein is palatable, go for it.
Just eat it, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, probably I would just imagine, like, just from the Mediterranean diet, that probably like fish is better, or poultry. I don't know, like red meat is like on the, if the people can choose, from a variety of options.
Yeah, for sure. So unfortunately, red meat and saturated fats are two of the things that are the most inflammatory. And a lot of chronic diseases, including cancer, are thought to be, if not caused by, but exacerbated by inflammation. So, by eating the red meat and the saturated fat and so forth, that's sort of putting fuel on the fire, because if you already have this inflammation and you're adding things that cause more and more and more inflammation, then it starts a vicious cycle.
And actually, that's true also for prevention, because the less inflammation you have in your body, the healthier you are, and also the longer you live, right? So it's actually the same advice is good also for all the rest of the people that just want to live healthier. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I have another question to you about some myths and misconceptions that there are, about the impact of diet on breast cancer. And so what are they, and how would you like to debunk them?
Yeah, I think one of the most common questions that comes up from my patients is about soy. So they'll say, okay, Dr. Chang, I'm going to totally redo my diet, I'm going to eat clean and blah, 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 and I'm going to totally eliminate soy. And I'm all, no, don't eliminate soy. So what the reason why this comes up is because soy does contain natural phytoestrogens. And so many breast cancers are fed by the female hormone estrogen, and soy naturally contains a plant version of that. So the conclusion is that, if I have breast cancer that's fed by estrogen, then I should avoid soy. And that actually turns out not to be true. And
oh, wow.
Soy is actually very beneficial. And interestingly enough, in large-scale studies in Japan, where the normal soy consumption is much higher than in the United States, just at a baseline, there have been studies to show that women who actually had increased soy, so even more soy than the typical Japanese level, had lower risks of breast cancer. So soy is fine. Soy is totally fine. And it's a wonderful source of protein, both from, soy products, but ideally if you can get it from the whole soy bean, like edamame. So I think that's probably one of the most common myths that I encounter.
Very interesting. Yeah, I was considering, should I eat more tofu or less, and soybeans, and so thank you for clarifying that, because now I feel better, like just going for it. Thank you. You really changed, shaped, the way you helped me shape the way I'm eating, and I'm on a journey of starting this year with eating more plant-based and a little bit less of the animal protein. Definitely, I'm trying to avoid red meat as much as I can. So it's very, very helpful. So another question to you. You mentioned in our conversations in the past that it's very important to maintain a healthy weight in the context of breast cancer prevention. So, how does diet contribute to this?
Yeah, so there are very complicated interactions between diet and activity and metabolism, and um, there's a lot of, the old thinking has been, oh, okay, well, just balance what goes in with what goes out. So balance your calories versus balance, your activity. But it turns out it's a lot more nuanced than that. And so it's not just the amount of calories, but it's also the quality of the calories and where you're getting those calories from. So, so whole food plant-based diet is actually very helpful in maintaining or attaining a healthy body weight, and for a couple of reasons. One is because the foods tend to be very nutrient dense. So whole food plant-based diet gives you a lot of nutrients, and it gives you a lot of bang for your buck, as opposed to the more processed foods, which often give you a lot of calories but not a lot of nutrition. Um, the whole food plant-based diet also provides you with a very healthy helping of fiber. And fiber is huge in, again, helping you feel full, helping your whole gastrointestinal tract work properly. And, and that helps you to also maintain your weight, because when you eat the ultra-processed foods, and yes, there's lots of calories, but your body doesn't feel full, then you want to keep eating more and more. And it's,
Overeat.
again, sort of a vicious cycle, because you eat more of these foods and your body craves more. Whereas with more of a plant-based whole food diet, when you eat it and you get the nutrition and you get the fiber and you feel full and you feel satisfied, then you don't have the urge to, oh, I need to eat more, I need to eat more. So it's really a lot about, the quality of what you're eating, that can help you, stay at a healthy body weight.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the healthy weight. What is the correlation between that and breast cancer prevention? Was there any research and studies or something that you found over the years that implies on a correlation?
Yeah. So for better or for worse, breast cancer, postmenopausal breast cancer, is one of the 13 different cancers which the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, has designated as an obesity-related cancer. And what that means is that the risk of getting these 13 different kinds of cancer is going to be significantly higher in people who are obese. So that's one kind of very sobering fact. The other thing is that, there's a lot more awareness around breast density and how breast density affects breast cancer risk. So we know now that women with dense breasts are at increased risk of getting breast cancer over their lifetimes for a number of different reasons. And many states around the country have passed legislation to notify women that they have dense breasts when they have their mammograms. So, but I feel like the gap there is it doesn't really tell you what to do with that information that you have dense breasts and that you may be at slightly increased risk of breast cancer. So the other very kind of sobering fact is that the risk of getting breast cancer, if you have dense breasts, increases with your body mass index. So that means that the heavier you are, the higher the risk is going to be. And the thing that's even more sobering is that that risk is not linear. So that means, like, if your weight goes up a little, the risk goes up a little. It's not linear, it's actually exponential. And so that means coming back to a little bit of a healthier weight can actually have a huge impact on lowering your risk of getting breast cancer. So we can't control our genes, we can't control our breast density, but we can work on the lifestyle factors that can help to keep those risks as low as possible.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. There's so many people that have, or women that have dense breast. Maybe you could share some success stories where lifestyle and dietary changes have a positive impact on breast cancer from your patients.
Yeah. So what I find is that a lot of my patients are like you, like me. They tend to take care of everyone else first. And that's the way they've been living their lives. It's been, I have my family to take care of, I have work, I have this, I have that. And so they often don't give themselves permission to take the time to exercise or to, take time and space for themselves or to prepare a meal that's going to be healthy for them. They may prepare a healthy meal for their family but say, I don't have time. So I'm not going to have a healthy meal for myself. So with a breast cancer diagnosis, for better or for worse, it's kind of a hard stop, and it makes people really reflect and say, wow, now I'm faced with this potentially life-threatening diagnosis. What am I going to do with that information? And I really don't want to die from this.
Yeah.
What can I do to improve my odds? The good news is that breast cancer, with the current treatments that we have, is very, very curable. And the vast majority of people do phenomenally well, live a normal, healthy lifespan. And I'm very grateful for all the medical advances that have led to that. But a lot of times my patients, in addition to the breast cancer, have a lot of other medical issues going on, like diabetes or high blood pressure, heart disease, and things like that. And the breast cancer is sort of a reset, like, okay, I probably should start taking care of myself, attending to my diabetes, attending to my blood pressure. And so I literally have had patients where we've had the consultation and I'll tell them, yes, you have breast cancer. You're going to be fine from that standpoint. I am very worried about your diabetes because your diabetes is actually more life-threatening to you than your breast cancer is. And I think for a lot of people that's hard to hear, but many of my patients have really taken that to heart, and I've just been astounded by how they've turned their lives around. And it is so amazing for me to run into my patients and they go, Dr. Cheng, because of you and because you told me that when we first met, when I had my breast cancer diagnosis, I started an exercise program. My diabetes is controlled. I'm off the medications. I've lost this much weight. I feel so good. I have so much energy. I've done this and this. And for me, that, I think, is probably one of the most rewarding things about being a breast surgeon. It's not just helping them get through the cancer, but also helping them to really improve their health span. Do the things, finally take the time for themselves and attend to themselves and say, I matter. I'm important. I need to take the time. I need to take the space. I need to take the commitment for me.
Wow, that's very touching, and normally, like, it's complicated. There are a few things that are happening in our bodies, and a wake-up call, a cancer wake-up call, is a very strong wake-up call. And you touched on something that I was very curious to ask you about, maybe to expand a little bit more. Can you share about the lifestyle approach, the holistic approach that you're taking when you're treating your patients? You have a very special, unique approach to that, and also some consciousness and mindfulness approach to that. Maybe you can share.
Yeah. So as it turns out, there's a relatively new field of medicine called lifestyle medicine, which I think is incredibly powerful and incredibly transformative, and I think will need to be the future of American medicine. But the idea is very simple. I mean, it basically takes all the things that my mom told me to do, and it uses them in an intentional way to prevent, treat, and also reverse chronic diseases. It's based on 6 pillars, and these 6 pillars are the whole food plant-based diet, the physical activity / exercise, restorative sleep, avoiding risky substances like tobacco, alcohol, stress management, and positive social connections. And by really paying attention to those and being very intentional about those, it is amazing how much better people can feel, how it can transform their lives, and really, really and truly, and I've seen it with my own eyes, prevent, treat, and reverse chronic diseases. And it is just such a beautiful thing when somebody can say, yeah, I'm off my medicines for blood pressure, I'm off my medicines for diabetes, I'm off my medicines for high cholesterol, and I feel so good and so strong. And it's deceptively simple because, again, these are the things my mom told me to do, right? But
My dad too. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is so profoundly powerful.
Yeah, our life is like so busy and distracting, and we're distracted with work, family, social media, news, everybody trying to suck you into different areas. And now with the remote world, we're a little bit more isolated than before, which impacts the social. We're social animals. Absolutely, yeah. And also, by the way, but with this holistic approach, you can also increase longevity and and live high quality, longer life. I'm not the whole idea of increasing our longevity is also increasing the quality. Because what's the point living long life when you're sick and sad? And I had one more small comment about this activity. I personally cannot work out in a gym or in group exercises. So, for example, I get myself a goal. I'm going to be 50 this year, and I gave myself a goal: climb Mount Shasta, and that pushes me to get out of the house a few times a week, work out, do strength, climb every weekend on steep hills that I'm looking around me all the time. So there are different ways, and each one there are different things that work for them. So there are, the physical activity is even just walking to your neighbor, working in your garden. It doesn't have to be staying in the gym, although gym is wonderful if people like it. And each one can find, their own path. So, Dr. Cheng, one last question. There's a lot of good information here, and I wanted to share with our listeners where they can go to learn more about this information. And we will have this also in the comments and in the transcript after. I'll add links, but maybe you can just share with us, on a higher level, where can people find more information?
Yeah, so the American College of Lifestyle Medicine is a great resource, and Kaiser, I'm putting out a plug for Kaiser because of course I work for Kaiser. but Kaiser actually has a lot of resources about healthy living and all of these different all 6 pillars. We have very nice, robust resources to support people in those. So for those listeners out there who are Kaiser members, please take advantage of these really wonderful offerings. American Cancer Society, and we'll provide a list of different links. But it's really, I think, underappreciated in many ways, and I think if we can help to spread some awareness about just how powerful these interventions can be, and the beauty of it is it's not just for ourselves, as a single person, but it's also for our families, and especially for our kids, as we teach our kids the importance of taking care of themselves and how to do it well and how to do it with joy and with pleasure. I think that's a gift to our future generations.
Absolutely, we're role models, and we model by example, not by words, because they just don't listen to us, but they see what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also just a little adder from Foodom, we have a whole category of food as medicine that is here to support different medical conditions. So we have already a few of the areas or chronic conditions you mentioned, and we're going to be adding also one for cancer. Food as we dive deeper into treating, because there are different types, different stages. So I'll add all of those links, and then Sharon, if someone wants like to ask you a question. Is there a way to reach you on maybe LinkedIn or any other way, if it's possible, of course?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm listed as Sharon B as in boy Chang. And I'm also on Instagram. And yeah,
I'll
so
share those links. Yeah.
awesome.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure chatting with you here. And I'm excited for the things that are about to come and the future episodes that we're going to be creating.
Yeah, thank you again, Reneta, for this wonderful opportunity, and thank you, listeners, for taking your time to listen to our discussion today.
Thank you.